Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the future. My name is Chris Calabugas, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. Oh, we better slow down. Gonna have to have my video go at least 8 minutes. At least 8 minutes. Otherwise, I don't want to be knocked down by the YouTube algorithms. We're talking innovation, startups, the future. Not necessarily those, not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified when a new show comes online. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe. Please drop a note on Apple Podcasts. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. So, a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was a week ago, I don't remember, I was talking a bit about the future of talent acquisition. Future of talent acquisition. And I was talking about, I've talked about it many times about how the future of work has got to change. Work needs disruption. Education needs disruption. Talent acquisition needs disruption. And I was talking to somebody the other day about the biggest problem with talent acquisition in this fictional thing that they call fit. And I envisioned that one of the reasons why we have the issue that we have today, the issue where there's tons of people who are qualified, very well qualified folks, who still can't find work. And at the same time, employers saying we can't find people. So what is the disconnect between the workers who are out there and they're skilled and the people who are looking for workers and they can't find anybody? And I think the biggest problem is fit. And I like to use the analogy of Tetris for this. So think about it like Tetris, right? So you've played Tetris before. It's that game where these shapes come down from the sky. There's an L shape, there's a T shape, there's a bar, there's a square, and you have to try and fit them into this landscape at the bottom of your screen. And when you make a line at the bottom of your screen, that line disappears and then more pieces come down. And the only moves you can make is you can rotate a piece or you can move a piece left to right to try and get them to fit into the slot. And I was thinking, that's kind of where we are today. We're kind of looking at these candidates as specifically shaped Tetris pieces. Oh, that guy's an L. She's a T. And I don't have room for a T. No matter how I rotate her or how I move her back and forth, I just don't have room for a T down here. And I think the problem with that is that kind of thinking is fallacious. It's a fallacy. Because you're assuming two things. You're assuming that your organization is rigid. Because if you think about it, Tetris is a bunch of rigid pieces falling from the sky to a flat landscape. Everything is rigid. The Tetris piece is rigid. The floor is rigid. Pieces on top of each other are rigid. Everything is rigid. And that's the one thing that human beings aren't. That's the one thing that we can do that machines can't. We are flexible. You can't think of human beings as Tetris pieces. You have to think of human beings as something more flexible than Tetris pieces, like maybe like gels, like gummy bears or something like that. We can fit. We can change to fit into slots. The human beings that are coming down, the candidates that are looking for work, they have a variety of dispositions, of education, of skills. They have all these different aspects to them. But many of those aspects are not immutable. A lot of those aspects are changeable. The person can learn more. They can grow more. They can change. They can change themselves. They're not that rigid. As a human being, they're not as rigid as, say, an AI would be or a machine would be. They're not rigid. They can change to fit into the space that you have for them. And at the same time, you as an organization aren't necessarily rigid either. You can change to make room for the piece that's coming down. So if you think about it, both the piece, the candidate, is malleable, and both your organization is malleable. I mean, think about the whole hybrid work thing, right? You might have the best candidate for the job, but they only want to work remote. And you say, well, the slot in my organization is only for a in-person or hybrid worker. So what do? Do you just let that person go because they only want to work remote? No, you make the slot flexible. You see what I'm trying to say? Is that we can't think of human beings and job roles and organizations as fixed, inflexible things that you have to fit somebody into. It's not a puzzle piece. It's not a Tetris piece. It's malleable. It's changeable. It's flexible. The candidate is flexible, and the organization should be flexible. If the organization is not flexible, then you're not going to be able to hire candidates that well, are you? I mean, if you think about it, what's the best kind of candidate for the job? You don't want a candidate who's perfect for the job. You don't want a candidate who's overqualified for the job. Or maybe you do, because a lot of times getting an overqualified candidate will allow you to do that job faster or better, right? That's the other fallacy that a lot of HR professionals are looking at. They go, well, this guy's overqualified. He won't want to do this job. Or maybe he does. Maybe the whole point is this person is overqualified, and maybe they were in a management role, and now they want to be an individual contributor. You see what I'm saying? Is that maybe an overqualified individual is actually a better person for the job because they can do a better job of it, even if they are overqualified. But I digress. What I'm trying to say in the end is that don't think of talent acquisition as Tetris pieces. People are flexible. Organizations should be flexible. And in these times, organizations should be a lot more flexible than they've ever been in the past. Because if there's a star employee out there who you really want in your organization, bend the rules. Make it happen. And if that's the case, bend the rules for everyone. Make it easier to work for you. Make it easier to be hired by you. Expand your set of individuals that you're looking at by looking at them in a more flexible light. They will fit. That's why I'm a huge fan of apprenticeships. You know, I hate the whole talent acquisition process as it is with resumes, interviews, I say bring the person on board, have them do the job, and see how they do. Because you can never know how good somebody is in a position until they actually do the job. You never know. You could be perfect on paper. You could be perfect in the interview process. You could be perfect in all of the processes. And then when you get to work and the person's sitting right beside you and working with you, you could be like, oh my God, I made a big mistake. Get them in there. Have them work with you. Understand what they are like as an individual, as a human. The only time you can see anybody's work style is by actually working with them. But like I said, flexibility is key. We're human beings. We have big brains. We can change the way we work. We can grow. We can learn. I'll bet you anything that you out there who are looking for people to fill positions are probably just not casting your net wide enough. We are flexible enough to do the role you're looking for. You just have to make it happen. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.